Thomas and his friends have been made available in many different sizes and scales. Electric models of the characters have been produced by many companies for different gauges. Lionel produces Thomas characters for the O-scale world, but originally made G-scale models, and in 2018 have brought that tradition back. Welcome everyone to a review of Lionel's infamous and entire Thomas & Friends G-scale collection. Starting from 1993 and going all the way to 2018, let's get this show on the road. Hi everyone, thomasdotd here, back again with a brand new review. We're going to be taking a break from O-Gauge for a brief moment to talk about the brand new, ready-to-play Thomas & Friends G-scale set by Lionel. Now, ever since this was first announced, it has certainly been the point of contention amongst modelers, but I feel every product deserves a fair chance. Right off the bat, I gotta praise the packaging. The box makes it very clear this is a ready-to-play set and allows you to see Thomas and his two coaches, Annie and Clarabel. It looks like Lionel's packaging has gotten an upgrade since our last review, and the new box art shows CG renders of the characters from the show with a very flashy blue and white swoosh look. Cosmetically, I don't find this as appealing as the older box designs, but it's still flashy and expertly designed, and there really is nothing wrong with it. Opening up the box, the models are packaged neatly behind a plastic protective overlay, and in the back are some pamphlets from Lionel. The first is the operator's manual, which is always important. Second is a warranty. And third is actually a very small and brief catalog showing the different products Lionel is offering. They have pages showcasing their new Bluetooth technology, their fantastic Polar Express items, and even a section on Thomas & Friends. Lifting up the plastic insert, we can see Thomas comes with a remote control, two separate facial expressions, and track with more track pieces in the back of the packaging if you wish to expand your layout. With these simple track pieces, you can design 3 different layouts, sure to keep any modeler interested. Let's take Thomas out of his box and... whew, this model is big. As we look around the model, you'll see some differences from the prototype shown earlier in the year. For one, Thomas's face looks much better in person than it does in the prototype picture. Sometimes pictures can't do enough justice. Sometimes you just have to hold a model to notice things about it. This new G-scale Thomas intrigued me as this was the best chance Lionel had to rectify their often criticized Thomas design, and we can see they really did. For example, a major complaint of the O-Gauge models is that when faces were swapped out, the eyes often seemed a little too pushed back. Well, Lionel rectified this by actually making the faces less long and placing the eye mech into the face. So when the faces are swapped out, the model looks a lot nicer. Lionel also updated Thomas to have CG series styled faces. A lot of people have complained about these, questioning why all of Thomas's expressions are happy instead of happy, sad, or angry like the original O-Gauge release. Well, I can't answer that, but please remember that this was more so a Mattel decision and not on Lionel's part. Speaking of which, while I am not a fan of the emoji-like faces Thomas wears nowadays, this is just what Thomas is now, and it isn't wrong for a model to reflect that. We can't debunk an item just because it is trying to replicate the current version of the show. With that said, these are some of the best CG Thomas faces on toys I've ever seen. Lionel also took the time to completely fix Thomas's chassis. You'll remember in my O-Gauge review that the O-Gauge Thomas had a very squashed chassis because it was trying to incorporate an older chassis to a newer model. Lionel has changed this, and now Thomas's wheels retain the correct spacing. This may fool everyone into thinking this is just a plastic toy, but Thomas's buffers and whistles are actually metal, making sure they don't break off like in the O-Gauge models. Thomas has also been updated to have a front lamp, a detail absent from the O-Gauge model, and an operational back lamp. Surprisingly, Thomas also has rubber traction tires on his wheels, making sure he performs and operates smoother than other G-scale train sets. Moving on to Annie and Clarabel, these are wonderful models of the characters. Just like Thomas, their buffers are made of metal rather than plastic, and their paint jobs are crisp and clean with excellent lettering and details. The roofs are non-detachable on these models, unlike most Annie and Clarabel models, and their faces are still those of the classic series design rather than the CG series. The models are lightweight, but not enough to bounce around the track. Their metal frames ensure that these hold a fair amount of weight to be operational. To get the models operating, you must first take out the G-Scale Line Chief remote from the box and place in 3 AAA batteries, much like the O-Gauge versions. Something to note here is the G-Gauge controller has a slightly different design to that of the O-Gauge one, so people who already own both versions won't get them mixed up. But that's not everything. Because this track is plastic, it doesn't come with a transformer or wall plug. Instead, we have to put batteries in Thomas, and yikes, this guy takes 6 C batteries. That is certainly going to break the bank, and to be honest, a model made in 2018 should not be requiring that much power. Anyways, to insert the batteries, just unscrew Thomas's back and out will pop a black cylinder that has spots for the 6 C batteries. Plop it back in, screw it back up, and Thomas is ready to roll. Setting up the track completely. Place your models onto the track and make sure all their wheels are placed correctly on. The models feature these easy-to-use plastic hook and loop-like couplers, so younger modelers can get right to work setting up the models with ease. Now, I'm sure you've noticed, but Thomas has a piece of cardboard on his boiler. Thomas's on and off switch is actually his dome. If you twist it, Thomas will turn on and make this sound. Now this means Thomas is searching for a signal, and I don't mean a train signal, I mean a wireless signal. So what you're going to want to do is turn your remote control on. The beeping will stop, and Thomas will begin making idle steam engine sounds that real steam engines do. So with everything all set up, let's take a listen to some of Thomas's sounds. Now this is a great feature. Lionel actually updated the sound effects on this model. We finally have Thomas's TV series accurate whistle, and Thomas actually talks instead of Sir Topham Hatt. I think we've sat here long enough. It's time to give Thomas a run, and here we go.
All aboard! We're on track and on time!
As you speed the model up, Thomas actually says something different. I have to say, this model is far more responsive than the O-Gauge one. With the O-Gauge model, if you were at 100 on the controller and tried to stop it immediately, the model would take a second or two to slow and stop. This model responds nearly immediately. So here's Thomas running around and... Hey, wait a minute! Oh no, Lionel, come on! Thomas's operational back lamp is wrong! The light is above the lamp. Oh man, all you had to do was just move the position of the light, or even the lamp! Well, while cosmetically it is inaccurate, it still is technically an operational back lamp. Alright, so I've certainly said a lot during this video, but I know the question on everyone's minds. Is this worth it? Is this a good product? Did Lionel do well? Well, I can't tell you what you should and shouldn't buy. To be honest, I was only excited to buy this because I like reviewing the Lionel models, not because I thought it would be a good product. In fact, I was ready to be really critical with this thing. But that all changed when I actually held the product in my hand. As I've said before, looks can be very deceiving, and so can a bad mindset. I have had a lot of fun with this, more fun than I thought I would, but I have to be real. For everything this model does right, it gets so many things wrong. I'm happy the chassis is accurate now, but if Lionel was going to change that, why didn't they just make an accurate body shell as well? This is a literal upscaling of the O-gauge body shell, which is flawed. I love the addition of metal buffers and added details, but why is the back lamp so lazy? Thomas finally being updated with CG faces is a blessing, but did they really all have to be happy? Again, that's Mattel's fault more than Lionel, but still. So with all these facts, this is a very divisive train. Until I remembered one thing. This is Lionel's ready-to-play G-scale line. The model is plastic for the most part, with plastic track and minimal detail. It's a toy train, not a model train. Look at Lionel's G-scale Polar Express. It's very lightweight, it's chunky and out of scale, it's missing details, and it's almost fully plastic. Lionel's ready-to-play G-scale line is a line designed to help younger modelers get into model trains. Everything in these G-scale train sets are designed to be used by children and easy to put together. So if anything, this is a toy, not a model train. Like, okay, I mean technically yes, it's a model train, but we all know model trains made of plastic with plastic track aren't exactly Bachmann Spectrum quality. I believe if we all take a step back and realize this product was designed to be a toy, then its simplified, budgeted look and feel begins to make a lot more sense. And with that said, please don't go in the comments and compare it to Bachmann's G-scale offering, because it's not trying to be Bachmann's G-scale offering. It's trying to be a more affordable, more accessible, easier to use, and safer for kids version of Bachmann's G-scale offering. Obviously the Bachmann G-scale Thomas is better, but that's because it's a model and this is a toy. Of course they are going to be different, and it's a little unfair to compare the two. But if this engine is designed to be a toy, then I'd say it succeeds. Because I don't know about you, but I'd say this toy offers a whole lot more than the other Thomas toys on the market today. So in conclusion, what do I think? I think Lionel produced a fantastic Thomas train set that, when given to a child for Christmas or a birthday, would blow their minds. It retails for around $100, which is not a bad price for what you get, but shop around online because I bought this for $60. This is not a high-end model, but that's not to say it isn't fun. If you or someone you know has always wanted to play with an electric train, this is an affordable and easy-to-assemble product that is the perfect entryway for any curious train fan. And that's all it ever set out to be. So with that said, then yes, I think it succeeds at what it tries to be. It's not a plastic piece of garbage, it's not a bad model train, it's a toy designed to get entry-level train fans into modeling in true Thomas fashion. This has been thomasdotd, and I hope to see you all again very soon.